in Floyd, Virginia. And we got Rebekah Todd here from The Odyssey. All right. Well, welcome, studio audience. We want to say a very special thank you to Deschutes Beer Company, who have sponsored this here podcast and provided everybody with these delicious Deschutes beers. Except for the 13-year-olds here, they got a Deschutes. You guys got a beer mat. But we're very grateful for them for providing beer. How is the beer, by the way? Fantastic. They're based up in Oregon, and they came all the way out here just for this podcast. They drove all the way across country just to be here with you and I, Rebekah. Amazing. So, Rebekah, I saw you today, and I loved your show. I thought it was really awesome. It was my first time seeing you, and my favorite thing about going to a festival is, like, I never look at the schedule of who's playing or what's on what stage. I just walk around, and I stumble across stuff that are, like, what I consider to be great discoveries. Cool. And today, you're a great discovery for me. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you were watching, and I'm really glad that I didn't know.
Why?
It would have made me nervous.
Aww.
Of course.
Well, there's plenty of time for me to make you nervous when you do a song for us later.
Good.
So,
good.
But we're super grateful that you're here on this podcast today. And I know nothing about you.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're from. I don't know, anything about you.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of people who are watching this podcast feel the same way. Mm-hmm. So where are you from?
I'm originally from a tiny town called Benson, North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And I live in Wilmington now, so it's a coastal community. You play Wilmington quite a bit.
Yeah, we love Wilmington.
You guys there. Yeah, so that's where I am now.
So what's Benson like?
Ooh, Benson is tiny. It's about 3,000 people, maybe 5,000. Mm-hmm. They're going to get mad if I misquote, but something like that. It's a small town, a couple stoplights, and I grew up right in the downtown, which is about 4 blocks.
And what happened downtown? What did you guys like for entertainment? What did you guys do on a Friday night in Benson?
A lot of people like to tailgate and do what they call cruising, where they do a loop around. Around.
Hey, Rebekah.
Down. I didn't do it.
I'm from San Francisco, and even we know what cruising is.
Even you, which is where you get in your car and you drive. No. I was kind of weird, though. I was a musician and an artist, so I was like locked in my room making things and, learning.
Did everybody in town think you were the weirdest chick in the world?
Probably, yeah. I was pretty weird. I learned how to play guitar when I was 11, so starting then I would just sit around and I would write things. I went to school for fine art.
Yeah.
So I got a degree in painting and drawing, so I would be doing a lot of that stuff.
So what was life like as an 11-year-old in Benson? What was that?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I was originally, I started going to this church because I thought it was really fun, and they sang this beautiful, bold music with a lot of harmonies, and it was a Pentecostal holiness church in Benson, and they really got me started. They had me going up on stage when I was 11, which I was super nervous about, but they had me doing that, and they taught me a lot about just harmonizing by ear.
Yeah.
So as an 11-year-old, honestly, I was just going to this Pentecostal holiness church singing, and it was great. It was fun.
What was your favorite song back then in church?
Ooh. That's a hard one. What are some of the ones? I mean, I'll Fly Away is always golden.
Can you give us a little bit of it?
Yeah. Okay. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. Well, I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by tambourine, I'll fly away. Thank you, guys.
That was awesome.
Good tambourine.
So you were going to church and you're going to church because you love the music.
Yes.
But was the church itself something that you were into? Like, were you down with the philosophy of the church? And
I had so many.
You at age 11?
Very much. I had a lot of really interesting experiences. You know, I was involved in a lot of different things because of music. I was like a worship leader at this summer camp and all kinds of stuff. All the different denominations were really interesting. The Pentecostal holiness people are running up and down, all this crazy energy. And I mean, I love it. It's like they were putting on this amazing show and you wanted to come watch. You know, you're like, what's going to happen this week? Is somebody going to get touched by the Holy Spirit and like fall out in the middle of the floor? You never know.
You?
I didn't. I had somebody.
It's not too late.
No,
it's
not
happen right here.
It's not too late. Maybe we can try. I think it's going to be you.
So then as a teenager, you were still involved in church and all, because I remember when I was a kid, it was like Wednesday night was Bible study, catechism. Friday night was youth group. Saturday was clean the church.
Wow. Well, what
Sunday
did you
was
grow
go
up
to
with?
church. My mom played organ in church, played piano in the church. Then it was like church social after church. You know.
Nice.
And I grew up in a similar sort of thing. Except my church is not a holy roller church. It was more like very kind of gothic hymns and really
that's it. It's all so different, and it always gets me when I go to a new one, because I got so used to talking and saying stuff, amen and all that. When you go to quiet churches.
What are we doing here? Is God gonna strike us? So what was the toughest part for you of being a teenager? What's the hardest thing of growing up?
Man, the hardest part about being a teenager. Yeah, Benson was a little tough for me, for sure. I didn't fit in, like I was saying, because I was so different, and always playing music and art. High school, I kind of was just a loner. You know, I was in choir, and I was like the show choir girl. I don't know. I guess if you have any more specific questions.
Well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Why were you a loner?
Why were you so weird?
Why were you a loner? Why did you feel like people were isolating you, or did you feel withdrawn and you just needed to be alone, or
I guess,
what was it that made you feel like you needed to be alone?
It's funny. Okay, so I guess when I knew from a very young age that I wanted to do what I'm so blessed to be doing now, which is singing with an awesome band, at this great festival. I knew I wanted to do that. I was very driven, and a lot of people around me weren't. And sometimes they would kind of use that in a way, because they didn't understand me. They would maybe try to make me feel like I was the weird one. And I was like, no, I'm just the one. I'm just driven. I'm trying to pursue my dreams here, and I'm still doing that. And you get it. It doesn't matter what age you are. You get it from different age groups. But yeah, man, I just kept being weird. Yeah. And here we are,
Weird
hanging
pays
out
off.
with Michael Franti on his tour bus. So it's working out, I think.
Nice. So
being weird.
So then, what point did you start writing your own music?
I started writing, maybe when I was probably right around 11. Started learning how to play guitar.
Right away.
I mean, they were.
What was the first song you wrote?
Oh gosh. Yeah, there was this. No, God, I can't even look. I can't believe I even remember it. Oh, it's so bad.
What is it?
It was called. What's Wrong, Child?
Let's hear a little. This sounds like an important song. Let's hear a little bit. Did you play guitar too?
Man, let me see if I can remember it.
Give it a go.
I mean, it was really simple, so it shouldn't be too bad.
All right. I can Google it for you if you want.
You can. You can. Thank God.
Well, after this, you'll be able to.
Ooh, do I want to do this?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I only know one verse.
Go for it.
Okay, so I only knew 3 chords.
All right.
And these were maybe even 2.
Okay.
I'm sure it was more only downstrokes.
Yeah.
11 years old. What's wrong, child? This is me when I'm 11. Why are you crying? I saw you over there just a minute ago. Come here, child. Lean on my shoulder. I'll cry with you until the pain is gone. I was such a sad little 11-year-old.
That's actually a really powerful song.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you kind of, maybe you remember it as being sound kind of silly or just your first thing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, she's crying, I'm crying.
No.
That was really... So what was happening?
Yeah.
Why were you crying at?
Oh, I was telling somebody else, why are you crying? Why are you crying? No.
Yeah.
But it's funny, actually, I haven't played that in so long. But now I have a song called Trouble, which is like really in the same vein. It's just me, 2 decades later writing something similar.
Yeah.
And it's in the same chord family.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then did you create your first band in high school or?
Ooh. Oh man, yeah, I guess so. I had a bunch of different groups of friends that I played with, and then finally when I went to ECU, East Carolina University, I got a
Pirates!
Yes! Purple! Yes, that's awesome.
Maybe that's why
ECU.
Did you go to ECU?
She did.
Yeah.
Wow.
World.
Small world.
Yeah, so I went to ECU. I met my band there, and
Yeah.
we've kind of been rolling along.
Now, were
ever
they
since.
already a band, or did you just put a sign up on the wall going, "I need some dudes to play some stuff,
pretty
let's
much.
go"?
I need some dudes that can play. So I got a bunch of guys that could play, and it's my band is called Rebekah Todd The Odyssey, and it has literally been an odyssey. Like every couple of years, somebody moves or somebody can't play in the band anymore, blah blah blah, and we keep switching it around, which really forces you to be so driven.
Is that why you got hitched up with one of them? So at least one would have to stay.
Exactly. I was like, I'll always have a guitar player, but he plays everything. So if I lose a drummer, sorry, bud, you gotta play the drums.
And when are you guys getting married?
Next summer in August.
Nice.
In Wilmington.
All right,
North
so tell me
Carolina.
the story. How did the proposal go down?
Ooh, it's a really good
You can jump in
story.
on here too if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't need to horn in on this. That's
All right. Okay.
the story, man.
So we actually got engaged only like 3 weeks ago.
Wow. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. It was really wonderful. He took us out to Bryson City, which is a mountain town here.
Yeah, sure.
And took us to the top of a waterfall. And when we got to the top of the waterfall, he stepped on this bush that happened to be a magical bush, and all of these lavender butterflies flew out. He told me he paid the lavender butterflies to be there. But maybe. And then he also picked this one rock where the sun was shining on it and walked us over to the Sunshine Rock, and then asked me to marry him.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
So let's
you.
keep going with the music. So
All right.
you guys form
Yeah.
Odyssey, and then
Yep.
at what point in your life did you feel like this is the kind of music I want to make? I mean, your music to me is, and I've only heard like 4 songs of you live, but it's a lot of different things. I
Yeah.
hear funk in there, I hear the blues, I hear gospel, I hear sort
I'm
of
glad
elements of like jam band and rock kind of
Yeah.
style. And your band is really great. Like they're all great players and they all play really well together. So how did you guys wake up and go, okay, we're gonna do a little gospel, a little jam, or did you just get in the room and it just kind of happened?
I think I grew up on classic rock and soul.
Yeah.
And funk and all that is in there with all of that. So most of the stuff that I'm writing is either like blues, classic rocky, inspired, or soul inspired. And then the great thing about having different musicians coming and going is they all have their own flair, so we tend to pull each other in different directions, which is great because it just continues to stretch us as musicians. Like if the drummer's more into funk and our keyboard player is studied in jazz, so we all pull each other in different directions and help each other grow.
Nice.
And then of course this guy does like all of it, rock. Yeah, he's a singer-songwriter too.
Awesome. And do you make your own music outside of a band?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Some solo stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Try to stay busy.
I'd love to hear. All right, so we're going to open this up to the studio audience now. Studio audience, raise your hand quickly if you've got a question. Just shoot it up. All right.
All right. Well, since you mentioned the ECU thing, I just have to ask, what in your whole time of being there, what was your favorite memory? And then also, does any of those favorite memories include playing music? Because I'm sure probably were there at the same time, but I have never heard of you, and I'm kind of bummed about that. So I wish.
Yeah. When were you there?
2008 through 2012.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. So man,
First favorite memory. Second.
Yeah.
Why didn't you play?
Yeah.
Why
Man.
didn't you go there when I was there?
So Greenville is a wonderful town for certain reasons. It's like this. It's this really strange place. It's so supportive. The arts and music community is very small but really tight. And they got me started there, and they would like let me open up for bigger people when they came through at the Tipsy Teapot.
Okay, yeah.
Remember the Tipsy Teapot? It's not there anymore. But yeah, the Tipsy Teapot was super supportive, and that was my favorite place to go. Everybody was really cool there. And then what was the other question?
So
Why didn't I play? I did play. I did. You just didn't hear about it.
I didn't know Tipsy Teapot. Have been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
While I was there, but
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun town. Man, Greenville's a party town.
Did you play a lot of gigs in college?
So
was that
many,
like
yeah.
a thing?
That was okay.
Is that how you kind of got yourself going?
I figured out that the way to make money was either to get a waiting tables job or to go play in some bars and maybe make some tips.
Yeah.
So I liked the other option of playing music, and I just did that as much as I could, and I made some dollars here and there. One time I had a homeless guy come up to me and ask me if he could have some of my dollars out of my tip jar. I was like, dude, you can pick up a drum and we'll split it. I'm doing the same thing.
You got to sing for your supper, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, you had a question too.
Yeah, so being a performer, it's all about energy, right? Like,
Yeah.
how are you feeling when you're, when you're out there performing, when you're playing? How are you feeling when you're writing? How are you feeling? So what do you do to get excited, pumped up before a show? Like, what's your pre-show? Do you have like, oh, I put on this song and I dance around? Like,
Yeah.
what
Your
gets you
pre-show,
excited?
what do you
gets your
do?
energy?
Yeah.
Do you have a ritual?
I don't really have a ritual. Do you have a ritual? Do you? I mean, I kind of
my
want to know.
ritual is
Do you?
put on my guitar and open my mouth so I sing.
There you go.
I mean, I train every day on the
Yeah.
road, so I work out every day.
Yeah.
And I have to take care of all the business for the band too. All this email. So there's like a routine that I have for being on the road. And I think that the one thing that I do every show is I always go out into the venue beforehand and I walk around and I look at all the parts of the venue so I can imagine, like, okay, if I was a fan on this side of the stage and watching, like, where would I want, what is the perspective, so that I know how to move on stage and I know where people are going to see, and I want to make it be as intimate experience as it can be for as many people as possible. So I try to figure out what the audience is going to be seeing out there and feeling. And then it also just gives me a sense, like at a festival today, I walk around and I see, like, what are people doing? What are people wearing? What are people into? What are they dancing to? Are people really excited to be here and happy to be in a little bit of rain? Or are they kind of like cold and not wanting to, so I try to, like, just suss out the whole thing before I go on. And then I do our sets like a DJ, like I make a set list, but we rarely follow it to the T, and I kind of see, like, oh, are people dancing? And no, then maybe we should play something else. And if people have been dancing too long, then maybe I'll play something quiet, so.
Absolutely. That's really cool. I mean, that I will learn from that because it says that you care about your fans and their whole experience from start to finish. So that's great. Good advice. Yeah.
So is there anything that you think you'd
Oh God,
you
I just
do,
try
or?
to, like, shake out the nerves, and
Do you get real nervous?
I don't.
Because I do.
It's more of like it's more of like a excited, like, almost not anxious, but you get these, like, jitters,
Butterflies,
right before, and then it's like you get up there and you just let it go. So
I call that anxiety.
okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I love to experience the energy exchange that happens. Sometimes you get to gigs and they're not giving it to you.
Yeah.
And you have to give it to them. Sometimes you get to the gig and you're like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. And they're giving you so much energy that you're, like, overwhelmed in a good way. And sometimes the whole band is like, every day's different. You gotta feel it out. But I try as soon as I get up there to be like, that's really the only thing I do is to notice, are they giving it? Do I need to? Of course, you always need to give it, but, like, do I really need to give it to them and get them going? Or, like, what do we need to do here to give everybody a good experience? But I'm going to start walking around.
It's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to do. Just see it. Do you find it challenging to be a woman in music?
Yes.
Tell me
Extremely.
about that.
Oh, what do you want to know?
Well, just what are the challenges that you face? What are the things that you come up against? What do you feel on a daily basis?
If I'm going to be completely honest
yeah.
with you, the thing that is the hardest, so we're currently completely independent, which means I do everything. And so I'm a female, I'm the front woman, and I'm also the manager, everything.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing is a lot of times people get the assumption that if you're a girl wearing a flying squirrel outfit, that you must
with a
be
hole in it.
with
That's
a
not
hole
gonna.
in it. With a hole in it.
I don't know much about flying squirrel suits, but you probably shouldn't have a big hole in it.
It's the only thing that
If you're
kept
gonna
me
jump off a mountain.
It's the only thing that kept me from flying away was the hole. Otherwise, it would have just caught me. No, but if you're gonna wear that on stage, then you must be a huge diva, and then they assume that you're probably not very nice. And they
they're wrong.
No, I mean I can be kind of yeah. No, but you have people expect females to be pretty, smiley, and talented. Everything else needs to go away. So if there's an issue with the sound, and I'm like, oh, this isn't right, they're like, oh, she's a B word,
Yeah.
And the same with sending emails and trying to get the right stuff that we need for the band to show up to a gig.
Yeah.
I kind of have to push a lot harder. People tend to talk down to females, and you just got to stand your ground, know your worth, and people respect that. I've noticed that as I started saying, you know what, if you don't want to give me what I think our band is worth, we're just not going to come.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, suddenly they were like, yeah, cool. All right, we'll give you what you think you're worth. So just be strong as you're growing up. Yeah. Know your worth.
Speaking of, do you guys have any questions? Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm ready.
As a kid, did you ever play for your parents?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Are you a musician?
I mean, I'm in like the performing arts group in my school and stuff, so I do some.
I heard you say that earlier, right?
I do some things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would make my parents sit in our living room, and I would say, all right, my dad would have to give me an intro. I would say, Dad, introduce me, and he would say, ladies and gentlemen, Rebekah Todd. And I'd walk in and sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then at the end of it, I'd say, okay, clap now. And they would all clap for me. So yeah, I guess I was a diva even at age 3.
Nice. What's your favorite song to perform?
I really love one of our originals. It's called Trouble, and it speaks about, for me, it's about how we each have completely different stories. Even in this room, all of us are so different, but we all have the same pain. It comes from different places, but it's all the same, and that's what makes us human. So this song is just about lifting each other up and getting through this trouble that comes in different shapes and sizes, but growing through it,
Nice.
So.
Can you play for us?
Sure.
All right.
All right, so this is a song called Trouble. Trouble came to me like a boy in the rain, with his head hung low and his feet in puddles of shame. Trouble came to me, said, can I have a glass of water, ma'am? And I said, of course you can. Won't you come on in? Ooh, trouble came. Trouble came. Trouble stayed in my home uninvitedly, and he ate up all that I had. Didn't leave nothing for me. Trouble stayed. Trouble stayed. Trouble stayed. Yeah. Trouble lay. Ooh, like a cold winter breeze. And he stole my daddy from me. Hit the road when you please. Trouble, yeah. Oh, he left so quiet.
lately. Trouble lately. Yeah, he left and he stole every damn thing from me. Trouble. Hey. Oh, trouble. Trouble. Hey. Trouble. Bunch of snaps. Ready? All right. Thank you, guys.
Ah, it's a beautiful song. Wow. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up here.
Okay.
And at the end of every podcast we do, I ask the same question. This is the Stay Human podcast.
Gosh. All right.
And, this world that we're in is constantly trying to suck our humanity out of us.
Yes.
So what are ways in your life that you stay human? What do you do to hold on to it?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. Gosh, so many answers. This tiniest answer I can think of, I love to stand on the grass with no shoes on. It's the tiniest answer, but it's so true. You forget, like you're constantly walking around on your cell phone. Sometimes if you just put your cell phone down and take your shoes off and stand on the grass, you're like, yeah, I'm part of this earth. It's so silly, but we forget sometimes. So that's what I do.
That's a great answer.
Thanks.
I love it.
Yeah.
So how can folks find you? How can they find your music? How can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, so my name's Rebekah Todd. I spell Rebekah REBEKAH. So if you go to RebekahTodd.com, you can find me. I'm on Spotify as Rebekah Todd. Just, all around, all the places.
Instagram,
Facebook,
all those things.
What else is there? All the things. Yeah.
RebekahTodd.com
RebekahTodd.com.
for your tour dates?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I give very high recommendation here. If you ever see Rebekah is coming to your area, make sure that you get off your hiney and get all your friends and get out to the show. Yeah. And you won't be disappointed.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the Stay Human podcast today from FloydFest in Floyd, Virginia. We love y'all.